Okay, so this is a quick tutorial on how we can use streaming softwares like OBS. OBS is the one I'm going to be using as an example for streaming live content regardless of whatever you do. So this is just basically a streaming for beginners guide. I made this small little flowchart so we kind of have like an overall understanding without getting too confused looking at softwares and their interfaces and 1,000 buttons staring back at you. So here's how it's basically going to work. Okay, and of course there are going to be hundreds of different case scenarios on how you would want to use it, or what kind of a setup you have, etc., etc. But I'm going here for like a most common, most basic type of setup that most people might end up using, and the nitty-gritties are some things that we can just experiment and figure out on our own. You're going to need a stable internet connection. You're going to need a streaming software like OBS. I will add links to all these things in the description so you guys can directly access them. You would need some sort of a webcam or a camera that is able to connect to your PC or laptop. So those are the most basic things you require. Now here is the case scenario I'm considering, right? So that's you, and say you have a USB mic plugged into your laptop, and then you have some sort of an instrument, say your keyboard, or a guitar that's connected to your sound card, and from your sound card it's connected to your laptop again via USB. Now again you have your camera that's connected to your laptop as well, most likely using some like a USB-C to HDMI or some sort of a direct USB 3.0 sort of a connection. So that is there, and from your laptop you're broadcasting to all these different streaming services, right? The things that you want to keep in mind here are this: make sure all your device drivers are updated. If you're not sure about what that means, just Google it. How do I update my audio drivers? For people who already own a sound card, you probably are a little bit more aware of these things. Same thing goes for if you're connecting using a USB mic. Make sure it's connected and its drivers are updated, as well as the devices enabled within your system. Again, all these things are pretty much easy things to Google and get the information on. I'm just going on the overall thing on how we're going to do this. Now all these things are connected to your OBS software, and through something called an RTMP connection. An RTMP connection is basically like a highway that connects your content to the streaming platform, basically. That's all it is. And you will have something called a URL and something called a stream key. We'll come to all of this, but that's basically what you will use to connect to, say, a Facebook, a YouTube, or a Twitch, etc. The thing you need to keep in mind is this might not apply for Instagram Live, because Instagram is one of those platforms where they want people to come to the app and then use it within the app. And since Instagram is owned by Facebook, their idea, I think, is that if you want to do any long format streaming, etc., etc., you can always use Facebook for that. But right now Instagram enables us only to do this via a phone application itself, and you have to use your phone as a streaming device itself. So this does not apply for Instagram, right? Okay, so now once you've installed OBS, right, what you can do is you just open it. I'm using a Mac OS. It pretty much looks the same on Windows as well. There you go. This is what you're going to be greeted with, right? You have your big screen here, which is like your preview window, and here are something called scenes. We'll come back to this. These are your sources. So this is where you will add all the different things that you want to stream to the platform. And this is all the audio connections, and again we'll come back to this as well. And here is where you transition from one scene to another. A scene is basically say you have an intro scene. You've seen streamers do this where streaming starts in 30 seconds or streaming starts in 5 minutes, etc. So think of it like that's your scene one, where you've started the stream, but that's what's showing up. You're waiting for your audience to gather, etc. Right? And if you keep it on fade, when you move from one scene to another scene, it'll gradually fade. And if you keep it in cut, it just immediately moves. That's about it. That's the only thing. It's not really that important right now. And here are all your controls. That's what you press to start your stream. This is to start your recording. So whatever you've input here, that will get recorded into your system. Studio mode is where you basically, it's a bit more, this is your preview and this is what's actually going on. It's not really something important right now, not for beginners at least. Now this is your settings. So let's sort of like go through the settings of what's happening, and we'll come back to the main layout of the thing itself, right? So you open, this is what you're sort of greeted with. None of these things are, I mean, you can always like go through them and sort of like, again, Google any specific thing that you want to know. The thing we're going to concentrate here are probably these ones here: the stream, the output, the audio, and the video section, right? Now what you want to do here is, let's check out the let's check out the stream. Right now, for example, I've chosen Facebook Live and my server is default. So how do we connect to, say for example, a Facebook? I'm just going to open Facebook. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a live stream in this group, right? Click on live video. Now by default, I do not have a webcam attached to my thing, right? So what I'm going to do is, again, this is if you are in a laptop, your laptop camera is automatically going to get recognized here. If you have a webcam attached, that will automatically get recognized here. And that's if you want to do like some sort of like a more informal streaming where you're just like talking to a bunch of people, that sort of thing. But if you want to do like screen sharing, you want to add your audio devices there, etc., etc., you want to consolidate all your audio devices, going to connect is a much more sort of like an intuitive way to do it. I think it's a more professional way to do this as well, because you can sort of link to your OBS software. So now you see this is your server URL. What you need to do is just copy this and go to OBS, and right now it's at default because it's recognizing Facebook Live, or you can keep it on custom and then add your server URL here, right? So you can see RTMPS live API, yada yada, all that stuff. Now I'm going to come back here, and this is my stream key, right? So I'm going to copy that as well. I'm going to go here, I'm going to paste it there, right? Now, okay, right? Now I'm sort of like linked to Facebook. Now, back to settings. Now, we connected our stream. Okay, now we're going to check our output, right? For your streaming, now one thing you need to keep in mind is for Facebook, the maximum sort of resolution and FPS that you can set is 720p at 30 FPS. So for your streaming, you want to rescale your output to something that's below 720, right? Because I mean, I'm using a 21:9 resolution monitor. Most of you might see something like a 1920x80, and then you will see like 716:480 sort of a thing. So right now I'm going to choose something that's below 720 basically. I'm choosing that, right? And I'm going to keep my bitrate at 25,000 kbps. My keyframe interval is 2. These are things that I just sort of Googled YouTube videos and stuff, and I kind of figured out these settings work best, and most of like proper streamers are recommending these settings, right? My audio track, I've chosen my audio track 1 to be the one that's streaming, right? Now recording. These are all what formats you want to record in. MKV is a good format to record in generally, because you can sort of like record multiple tracks with it. So when you've recorded a video and then you throw it in an a video editing software, say Premiere Pro or Final Cut, you will have all those audio tracks that you've sort of recorded come as separate channels, so you can sort of individually edit all of them. Again, audio, these are sort of like set the audio bitrate for which you want to stream with or record with. And reply buffer, nothing, it's not something that we need right now. And remember, this output is kept in advanced, right? If you keep it simple, it'll just give you a more simpler version of this whole setting thing, but I would keep it in advanced because I don't think it's that complex for us to understand what we need to do here, right? And again, this is something you want to keep in mind. If you have a really good powerful PC or a laptop, then you can sort of like keep it at more higher settings. I right now kept it in medium because it seems to be like the midway point. Okay, now coming to audio. Now what I've done is I've sort of like kept my sample rate at 48 kilohertz. Again, you can keep it at 44.1 as well. These two I've sort of temporarily disabled because these are all the sort of inputs that I want to work with. Now I have multiple devices, right? see in our thing we saw like we have a sound card that we're connecting, we have a USB mic that we're connecting. Now what I've done is I've also have sort of like a similar setup at my place. I've connected my USB mic via this Voice Live Touch 2 thing I have here. I also have a sound card here that you guys can see. On this one I've connected just like a guitar for like just to show you guys that it works, right? And for a camera, I'll come back to a camera. Right now I'm gonna assume that I am sort of sharing a screen of the software that I want to sort of like showcase to my people, right? I'll come to how we can connect a camera as well. Okay, see now I'm hoping you can see this, that like you can see like this mic input I'm speaking into and I'm getting the levels on the screen here. You can see that, right? Okay, great. Now that's working. Now I'm gonna just, okay, now as you can see my instrument is also working. That's the first channel right there. That's also working, but it is a guitar, right? So it's a mono input. So what I can do is I can click here on that little gear wheel to open my settings. I'm going to go to advanced audio properties and I'm going to down mix it to a mono, right? I'm going to press close. Check. Okay. Now you can see it's coming as a mono signal. Earlier you could see only one of those two lines was sort of going up. Now you can see both are going up. It means it's on a mono connection right now. And you might ask, my microphone is a mono input, but since my Voice Live processor sends out a stereo signal, it's getting a stereo signal here. Okay, that's about it. Now, okay, how do we get the audio to work from here? Right? Now you can see this is also working. How? Because I'm going to just pause that there. And what I've done here is I'm using something called Soundflower, right? Because for some reason OBS doesn't directly take the output from your DAW, right? So I've used something called Soundflower. If you don't know what Soundflower is, it's basically just like it's like a virtual audio aggregator. Soundflower for Mac, you can just go check it out. It's from this company called Fluxforge, if I'm not wrong. You can just follow these things to, again, I'll leave a link of this in the description. You guys could just download this and install, and then you'll be able to see it on your sort of like system, right? Another thing you can do is, okay, now I've connected everything, right? Now see, for example, I'm playing here, and then I'm able to see it being played here as well, but I'm not able to hear it still. So what do? Again, I'm going to go here, and that's where it's coming. So I'm going to put monitor and output. There you go, you can immediately hear it, right? And you can again mute it if you want, you can unmute it. Right now I'm just going to go back to just monitoring off. Again, here's something that you need to keep in mind. Yeah, you have a mic that's connected, and now this is playing off your speakers. What's going to happen is there's going to be a feedback loop where whatever's coming out of your speaker right now, which is coming out of my screen's speaker, it's going to come out, it's going to go into your microphone again, and then it's going to start like creating this feedback. So I would really advise, for any monitoring that you need to do, use headphones. Just put headphones on so you can hear whatever you're doing. For example, say I'm playing live and I want to be able to hear myself as well as I'm doing this, and as the audio is getting sent to the stream as well, I'll just use a headphone so I can hear myself. I would really advise to not have any audio that's blaring out if you're having a microphone on, especially in scenarios where, for example, you're doing a live stream and you have comments coming in and you want to interact with people. Definitely use headphones, because your audio is going to be bleeding in. You don't know exactly how well people are able to hear your voice compared to the music that you're playing. You don't know what sort of a system they're listening to, so all that considered, please use headphones. Right now, that's how we basically set up our audio. We have a mic that's working, we have our instrument that's working, so all these things are ready to go. Fine. Now what? Now we're going to add the screen of the thing itself. So what I do is I go here. Now I have a bunch of different options here. I'm going to go through only the ones that are immediately useful for us. So now if I want to just capture a display, right, I'm going to capture this display. It's going to open the small window. I'm going to give OK. Right now, what this does basically mean is that Now if you have multiple monitors, it's going to show you the different monitor options here, but right now I only have one monitor, and if you want to crop, you can just do that here. But basically right now it's capturing my entire window, so you can sort of like see OBS itself within OBS, and it creates this sort of like mirror against mirror sort of a thing, right? Now if I open anything else, for example, and I just like zoom that in, see that one is also sort of showing up here. So if you want to capture your entire screen and everything that's going on your screen needs to go out on stream, you can do that. Or sometimes you might have like some windows open that you don't want people to see, so let's not use that. So you've added something here, you can remove it just by pressing that minus button there. Right now I'm going to go here again, I'm going to use something called a window capture. Right, a window basically means you can lock it to any particular window. So for example, here I can see machine 2, right? I've selected machine 2 and only that shows up now, right? Perfect. Now for example, if I want to sort of like change the resolution of things, the resolution of this entire window itself right now that you see is set to 21:9, because I use a monitor that's a 21:9 resolution. You can change that here. See, my base canvas resolution is basically what your base resolution of your monitor is. But if you want to scale it down or change the scale of your output, you can choose it from different settings here. Right? See, this is like what most people will normally have. Okay, 1920 into 1080 is what most people will have. Okay, I'm going to choose that, but you can see like by default mine is much larger. So I'm going to just like make that smaller, right? Done. Great. I've set that in the middle, but I do have some empty space here which I can use for like doing some cool branding, or like putting my Insta handles and my Facebook handles, or have something like just like to kind of put my branding out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and select something called a media source, right? There we go. So now it's going to ask me to sort of select a local file that it wants me to sort of select. So I'm going to go here. I had a bunch of things that I made earlier for native Indian in terms of visuals. Where the hell is it? NI clips, is it inside here? There we go. Okay. So for example, I want to choose this, right? It's a small .mov file. It should work. And I've clicked OK. See, now there it is. It's coming up here. Right, now I'm going to resize this to be much smaller, and I want it, say for example, just there. You can place it wherever you want, So for example, if I want to just place it there, it's like, okay, anyone who's streaming the stream, immediately they'll be able to see my logo. My branding is done there. Okay, great. Now if I want to add something else like my Insta channel or my Facebook or whatever else that you want, okay, so you can select text, free type 2. Okay, I'm just going to wait for that to load up. There we go. Now it's going to ask me for my thing. Okay, so I'm going to type, say, /native.india. Right? I've selected that. Now I can choose some other font if I want, do all that little, stuff. Okay, now that is done. Okay, and there's another thing here called, say, filters. You can check out some filters that you can apply on it. These are pretty much for all the things. Say for example, you wanted to just keep scrolling. Right, now I'm going to select it as that. Oops. Okay, if I want that to just sort of like keep scrolling, and if I want it to be like rather slow, there you go, I can just place that there. Now, of course, it's looking a little bit weird because there's no gap. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to insert some gap here. You can do that, or you can sort of like make a separate small animation of this that you can just insert there. Let's come back. Right, anytime you don't find something and you want to take it off, you can always do that. Right, now this is my scene here. Right, now I'm going to create another scene. Say I'm going to call this introduction. Okay, say for example, I go and I make like another oh god, right? Now say I have something like stream begins in 5 minutes. Get your popcorn. You know, I want to just put something like that. There you go. And say I want something like that, right? And I'm just going to go there and say export it as a JPEG file. Oops. As a JPEG file to my desktop. I'm going to say save current slide only, just as only, you know what I mean. We get that going. Now in this introduction, I'm going to add this as a media source. Okay, I'm going to go locate the file. I dropped it to my desktop. Image, my bad. I'm going to go select an image. I'm going to come there. I'm going to browse for that image. Right, select that. Now I'm going to make that big. There we go. So that's going to be an introduction thing, right? Now how we want this to sort of happen is, now I've had this, now this, and then say you can have another screen that says after you're done, like, you know, for 5 minutes you can say thank you for streaming. Anyone who's just missed your thing will know that, oh, they just missed the thing, rather than just them seeing the video. So maybe like just for the last 3 minutes you can have that saying like, hey, thank you for coming into my stream. Again, you can plug in all your channels, your logos, everything for your for your branding. So now let's just do a small test stream here. Okay, so now I've already connected to Facebook. I'm gonna go start stream. Now if I go to Facebook, you'll see that this page is gonna change, right? And you can see here that maximum supported resolution is 720p, right? And right now my frames is at 60. Again, this also is something that I will correct. Right, this is how my stream is looking currently. So if I go live, it will start going live, and then when I'm in OBS and I come and switch to scene, right, now you'll see like here also it will just change. Now there's something that you need to keep in mind is that there's always usually some sort of like a 10-second lag between what you're streaming and when people are actually seeing it. You might want to just keep that in mind. So if you're doing something, anyone who's commenting on that, you'll see that comes up like maybe like 30 seconds later to your view, right? That's just something you want to keep in mind. I'm going to choose my stream, okay, as 720 here, just so that my preview is also like in high resolution. Now I'm going to just go back here. I'm going to stop streaming. If you want to stream, I mean, most of these applications, once you stream, you're able to sort of save that video. But if you aren't able to do that in any particular situation and you want to just record as well, you can do that. What you do is you go to your settings and you go to video, and right now I want to scale down mine to 30 because Facebook accepts maximum up to 30 FPS. Okay, we've done that. Now output. Now if I'm recording anything, this is where it's going to go save at, right? You want to choose whichever location you want to save at, and you know, sometimes these files are going to be really huge, like 8 GB or whatever. So you want to select a drive that has a lot of space without midstream, you know, low disk space sort of like things popping up. So just keep that in mind when you're doing it. We've done that. We've done this. Okay, great. Now I think most of our settings are good to go, at least at the basic level. Again, okay, right. Now if I'm, say for example, play something here, right? It's playing here as well. I'm getting the signal, right? And I'm gonna start streaming. You can see my stream is sort of like fetching a preview, right? Now that's fine. Now again, now I feel like I need to add something else here, right? What I want to do is probably say I want to add a camera to kind of show myself as well, you know. So here's something that we can do. There is something called OBS for iPhone, because I don't really have a webcam. This is how I end up using my iPhone as a camera for my streaming itself, right? So you can go here, you can download this application from the App Store. There must be equivalents of this for Windows users as well. Just again, like just small Google search away for that, I'm sure. But this works really well for iPhone owners, right? And especially if you're using it with a Mac, it really syncs up nice well. So what I'm going to do is I already have it saved in my system. This application is a paid application. It costs about some $1,000, but it's totally worth it because it just works flawlessly. Now I'm just going to quickly connect and show you guys how that works. There you go. Now I'm going to stop the stream. Since this is connected via USB, just for it to recognize what's going on, I'm going to close OBS and open it once. And just remember that like all these settings are pretty much saved as you're sort of doing them, right? So if I, for example, just exit the application right now, right? And now I've opened the OBS camera app in my iPhone, and I also have the application installed in my system as well. Right now what I'm going to do is basically again open OBS. Right now you'll see here that there is an iOS camera that's just popped up. Now I'm going to go and select iOS camera, and there you go. See it, my camera is being detected, but again it's in a vertical orientation. Either you set your camera, you can fix this as well. I'll just show you how. Select your device. Now you see it's a gigantic big screen that's showing up, and it's showing me my screen itself because I'm pointing my phone towards my screen. Now what I do is I right click this here, and there's something called a transform, where I am going to give it a, say for example I'm holding my phone say now in landscape, so I'm going to give it a, this is a 90-degree counterclockwise spin. There you go. So now say you have a stand, like one of those phone stands that you can just sort of use to kind of like point at yourself, right? So kind of mount those on a place, and then there you go. So now I want to do that, and I want to just put that here. I'm sorry for the inconvenience of having to look at my face. There you go. I want to do that, and I want to put that here so I can kind of like keep myself on view as well. Now for example, or keep it somewhere, wherever, just keep it somewhere, and say for example I go start streaming again. Now you can see that in Facebook, once we start the stream, you're gonna have right, again if you keep the volume up here, whatever you're doing in this thing, you're going to be able to hear that from your stream. That's going to be distracting for you, so I would advise to just keep this off for yourself. Use another phone or another laptop or your mom's phone or something to sort of just like see how the stream output is coming. And before you kind of like just go out and do this into your in your environment, I would suggest you just again do this in a private page where you can sort of like share it only to that group or that page, and you can just test it, make sure everything looks good before you go and do it live for an audience. That's about it. You press go live there, that's the last step, but I'm pretty sure everyone's capable of doing that. Anything else that I've missed out that I wanted to mention? And just remember that all these things work like layers. Now for example, if you place this somewhere here, right, but then this is like below this, then it's not going to be seen because it's hidden. It's just like Photoshop or any other software where you just want to sort of like make sure everything is layered on the right order. So you kind of set that wherever it is. Apart from that, just experiment. There are tons of videos on YouTube on people doing tutorials on how to use OBS, all the different like minute settings within it. How do I use my Android phone as a camera? How do I connect my GoPro to my OBS? All those things are there available online. There are options that you might explore if you are really into audio and you have a bunch of different things that are connected via various sources, and you want to sort of like connect them. I've made certain aggregate devices here. You can see that it's called Native Indian. I sort of consolidated my outputs and inputs, and you can see that here as well. So in which case, what I would do is, for example, in a purely streaming situation, you're not recording anything and you're just streaming audio outwards. What I would sort of recommend to do is, say for example, you can go to something like Logic, create a consolidated device like this, because there you can sort of like get all your inputs into different channels. I'll show you guys what I mean for a second here. Right now I'm going to keep this besides me so I can kind of know where my inputs and outputs are. Say now I'm going to my audio settings and I'm choosing my input device as the aggregate device Native Indian that I had made, right? And I'm sending all of it out to Soundflower, right? Now, in which case, if I've done this, it means that my aggregate devices work like this, where my display port is just an out. My display port is basically my monitor. Leave that now. My VoiceLive is basically my mic, right? Now my mic inputs are basically front 1 and 2. Channel 1 and 2 are my mic because they're a stereo channel here, right? So I'm going to go here, go to the input of this, and I'm going to select or make it a stereo channel first. I'm going to select 1, 2. Now if I just test it, it should work. There you go. See, hello, hello, hello. You can see channel live. You can see the signal coming in here. Okay. Now again, I want to connect my guitar. Right now, where's my guitar connected in the aggregate device? My guitar is connected to my complete audio, and I've connected to channel 3 and 4. This is basically the first 2 channels of my sound card, but here it's getting aggregated as the channel 3 and 4. So again, here this is a mono input. I've only connected to that one particular thing, so I'm going to keep it a mono channel. I'm going to go select 3. I'm going to just strum my guitar. Oh, oops. I'm going to just keep that channel live as well, so you can see getting signal from my guitar as well. Great. Now if I since all my output are connected to Soundflower 2 channel, I'm going to go to my IO settings. Now output, I want to select. Here you can see my Soundflower output channel is basically 11 and 12, right? I hope you guys can see this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select 11 and 12 as my output channel. Okay. Now that means that 11 and 12 is getting routed to this Soundflower 2 channel, right? Now my input source is still Native Indian. There we go. There we go. Now you can see like this channel, mic aux 1. I'm going to show you that here as well. See, mic auxiliary channel 1 is still selected to Soundflower channel 2, which means I'm receiving input. This is my mic directly being connected, because you can see the VoiceLive is directly connected here, right? Now this is getting input from Logic, because see, I'm playing my guitar, that's coming through that channel. I'm saying hello, 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 all that is coming through my channel as well. Now here's what you need to keep in mind as well. Go to properties. Now you're sending these to different tracks, right? And another thing you want to keep in mind here is that in your stream, you are you're sending your audio track 1, right? So you make sure that whichever channel is you're sending all your audio to, you basically have it selected to track 1, so that all that audio is getting sent to track 1 as well. You know, in a recording situation, for example, I want my instrument to be channel 1, my media source, you know, like my everything to be different channels. So when my recording is complete and I throw that recording into, say, a video editing software to kind of like edit it, that time I will have all my audio sources in different channels. But for a streaming purpose, I think this is perfectly fine, where you just have consolidated devices that you're using. So that's an aggregate device that you can create. So how you do that is just right click here, you go to create an aggregate device, and then you sort of like select all the channels. Now drift correction applies to anything that has an input. That's why you see my machine here, it doesn't this thing necessarily have anything. So I mean, it does have input channels, what am I saying? You know, but for example, this is a virtual device, Soundflower doesn't have, you know, everything else has an input. Your display port doesn't really need it, you can take that off. Okay, You can keep that in, this is 48 hertz as well, because you are streaming everything in 48 hertz, so remember that as well. I hope this sort of really gives you guys a start into what the streaming services are about. These softwares like OBS, there are a bunch of other softwares that you guys can check out. There's XSplit, there is I think OBS Studio, if I'm not wrong. There is a few more, I can't just remember them off the top of my head, but I think this one is a free software. It's really easy to use. And again, I can see my CPU usage when I'm running all these things. I have a bunch of things open. It's still like here, it's only like at 14.9%, which is pretty good. So make sure you keep an eye on that as well. This is your FPS cap, which is you're using, and here is your streaming thing. If it's green, it means that your streaming is good, right? If you have really internet fluctuations, so you'll see this turn yellow or red, which means that your connectivity is really bad, right? Now, I'm gonna go back to Facebook here, and I'm going to just close this because I'm not really going to stream now. I'm going to leave the page. I'm going to stop the stream here, and that's it from my end, guys. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave it in the comment section. Hope you guys have a good quarantine time, and just be productive. Thank you so much.